All right, so it has now dawned on me that I've chosen the most pretentious title here of any talk. My title is Wisdom, or 18 Things I've Learned Along the Way. I want to share with you guys some things I've learned in my life that has nothing to do with my business really, or nothing really to do with me professionally, but me just going through life. So number one, fail fast. So this actually has to do with my business. I learned as an entrepreneur that it's a really good quality to fail fast. Basically, the basic principle is the faster you get to failure, the quicker you get to a good result. So I've learned in my life to both apply that to both business and personally to fail fast. Second, to get uncomfortable. You might not know this about me. My family does. My friends do. I'm an introvert. This kind of stuff is not easy for me to come and talk publicly to folks, but I find that some of the best experiences come out of just getting out there and getting in front of people and getting uncomfortable, basically. Ask questions. So as kids, we're curious, we explore, we like to learn, and somehow as adults that just gets beaten out of us. We stop asking questions, and so I've learned just in a really rudimentary way to just continue to ask questions, to continue to explore, to continue to be curious, to get outside of my comfort zone a little more. This one's actually really quite simple. So there's something that happens when you buy candles, you tend to use them, and when you tend to use them, you tend to stick around because otherwise your house might burn down, right? Which means you're taking a break, you're relaxing, you're taking some time off, right? So I found for me, buying candles is my way to a relaxation. Number 5, call mom. My mom was supposed to be here tonight. She's not here tonight. My sister's here. She's wonderful. Everybody say hi to Asha. So I'm the youngest of 4 kids, and my mom drove us everywhere while working nights as a nurse. So it's like the least thing I can do to just call her and say hi and honor her in that way. And I find through honoring her, I'm like a good son. 6, hurt now so I don't hurt later. 2 years ago, I went through a divorce. It was one of the most painful things I went through in my life, but through it, I learned a really important practice, which is to be present in your pain instead of saving it for later. When you save it for later, something really terrible happens, which is it just grows over time. So if you sit in that pain, if you go through it, then you'll be okay. So 30 years ago, AOL was founded. 20 years ago, family computers became a commonplace thing in the home. And then 10 years ago, we all had computers in our pockets. We basically never unplug anymore. So I found just a small, simple practice, which I run a technology company, is to just unplug and not be online for a little bit. 8, don't quit. Steve Nash has a fantastic quote. He says, if everybody worked as hard as he did, he would be out of a job. Steve Jobs has a fantastic quote talking about perseverance is the single greatest key in being successful in the technology space. Sometimes just not giving up is all you need to do to be successful. 9, quit. Yeah. So about 15 years ago, I had a job for 7 days selling books across the country. It was a terrible mistake. I ended up hopping on a Greyhound and going to my sister's place in New York and then flying back and having a fantastic summer. Sometimes we go down the wrong road, and it's so important for us to just shift gears and go the other way. 10, wherever you are, be there. So I had a really terrible habit in college where I would do homework for one class in another class, and a teacher graciously came up to me afterwards and said, hey, wherever you are, you should be there. And so it kind of it still sticks with me today. Be where I'm at. Don't be in the future. Don't be in the past, but be present. Number 11, the platinum rule. So we've all heard the golden rule, right, which is to treat others as we'd like to be treated. Well, the platinum rule is to treat others how they'd like to be treated. Do you get the difference? Yeah, love other people in the way that they feel loved, not the way that you feel loved. 12, ask for help. So about 5 years ago, I ruptured my left Achilles playing basketball, which kind of ended my basketball playing. But through that, I had to ask for a tremendous amount of help just to do the smallest of things. And I realized even as a full-grown adult, I still have weaknesses. I still have disabilities, even emotionally or communication-wise. So asking for help is core. 13, be honest. This is like the most obvious thing in the world, and yet we are so terrible at it. I'm terrible at it. And being honest with myself about myself and being honest with others. And so I found it's so nice when I'm honest that I don't have to take back what I say, that I can just own it and live in it. 14, everybody was a kid one time. My good friend Ryan used to say this in college. And what it means is no matter how nasty, no matter how awful, no matter how terrible somebody is, if you think of them as that little baby or that 4-year-old bright-eyed kid, you'll see them differently. You'll love them differently. You'll consider them differently. 15, get a coach. Every experience in my life, whether it's an accomplishment or a milestone, there's always somebody behind me who's been giving me advice, who's been pouring into my life, who's been cheering me on, who's been a coach in my life. So I found, not just for sports, but for every single endeavor in my life, to get a coach who can pour into me. 16, read my book. I actually don't have a book, so you guys don't have to worry about that. We're taught as kids to not judge a book by its cover. So what's the inverse of that? The inverse of that is to actually read the book, right? So what if we read other people's books? What if we looked into their lives? What if we walked a day in their shoes? We would know them. We would understand them. We would see them as they are. 17, I'm not special. I'm a millennial, so I grew up thinking I should get a trophy for everything. And it's taken a long time to undo that sort of specialness. But I've realized if I consider others more special than myself, I tend to value them more. 18, but I'm loved. Every single person in this room, including myself, can think of one person, whether it's a child, whether it's a parent, whether it's a coworker, whether it's a teammate, whether it's a partner, who loves them, who would be there to let you cry on their shoulder. So this is the single most important thing that I've kept with me in my life, is to understand that I'm loved no matter what point in my life I'm at. And if I'd known they were going to give you a thank you slide at the end of the other slides, I wouldn't have had this thank you slide. So thank you.